It is also important to recognize that it is the children who will inherit this earth. And if we aren't thinking about not only what these disasters are doing to the children today, but what we're leaving for the children tomorrow, then we're not doing the service that we should be doing to humanity.
Thank you very much. And well, now you've heard the opinions of everybody on the panel, and now it's time for us to hear your opinions, get the debate going. We have a roving microphone, so if you want to start off, just put up your hand and we'll try and get the microphone to as many as possible. Please also identify yourself when you start. Maybe we can start here. I think that was the first hand in front of me, the lady sitting here. Was the first hand that I saw. I'll try and see all hands. But please, yes, identify yourself, state your question, and then we carry on from there.
Thank you, Johan. I'm Eva von Elreich from the Steering Committee for Humanitarian Response. And you ask in your panel what new role for humanitarian actors. And I think there are quite a few new roles, and we've listened to the panel talking very much about it. I would like to add a few things. Even talking only about disasters, I mean not even thinking of some of them being partially or fully caused by climate change, there is a need for fundamental changes in our way of working. Now, climate change comes in as a risk multiplier of what we already have. It's a very potent driver of risk. So that means it's more important and more urgent what we need to do. I think the first role of humanitarian actors is that we need to advocate vigorously for disaster risk reduction and preparedness and other things to our friends in development. It must become an intrinsic part of development. It isn't today, and there's a whole load of work that needs to be done by that. I think also we need to question all our architecture, not only our major systems, the UN, our NGOs, division in between development, humanitarian, etc. But we need to question it not because it's a philosophical thing, but because it puts barriers to our work, and they are quite subtle in some cases, but they do undermine some of the major efforts that need to take place in the future. Thirdly, I think that we need to acknowledge the ownership of the state and its people much better than is done. So in fact, it's about turning the way we work upside down. It's about a new business model which starts on the local level and on the country level. Local people already do what they can in disasters, but if they have better understanding, we saw that related to weather this morning in the plenary. If they have better understanding, better knowledge, of course they can do more. And I think that one of the groupings that has very little power in reality is in fact the municipalities. They do want to do a lot in many cases. I've met many people, local government people who want to do things. They have absolutely no means, they have little capacity. And so everything needs to start on the local level where the disasters catch up with humans. Of course, we need to have the humanitarian system in the future as well. But strategies, approaches need to be turned upside down or be changed, be rethought, and that is urgent. And just to take one last example of something that we need to do, is based on the Global Humanitarian Forum the report that has been criticized for the databases, methodology, etc. I think one of the best ways to empower people is also to acknowledge that there is a need for institutions in each country who can do statistical data collection, because we need to get the data from there. The data are very, very sloppy, and we need better ways of understanding of what are the facts. It's about mortality, morbidity, population figures. This is an empowerment of countries to be able to take more control. So I think that is an urgent thing to help research and analysis in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would anyone on the panel like to respond to anything she said? I think it sort of corresponds with most of what has been said already to a large extent. Can we go right to the front here and then after that to the back, please? We've got 30 minutes left for the debate. I just want to say at this point, so try and, if you have a question, try and make it short, please. And if you have something to say which is of value, please say it to us. Thank you.
I'll try to be short. Just to confirm that a question that has been put forward, that is humanitarian needs going up, what other policies need to change. When it comes to hunger, the number of hungry people has moved up from 850 to over 1 billion. And if you think that on the 2 billion bottom poor, they spend in average 60% on food, this means that we have a big problem in front of us. I don't want to go further on that, but just to say some of the probably response that need to be adjusted to respond to this dimension of the problem. First, I agree fully. The need to build up capacity at national governments to be able to prepare for disasters and to mitigate disasters and to have embody on the budgets and the all development interventions what disaster mitigation tools. On humanitarian response, I think I agree fully that we need a new architecture of funding. We need to break the boxes from development to humanitarian, and it is a very artificial that is being used actually many times as a mechanism to contain the response and actually lead to unsmart responses. And I think the smarter response that we need to have, we need to build the humanitarian response, as I say, based on community knowledge. And when it comes to food assistance, I think we need to have much smarter products available based on local production, enriched micronutrients when possible, or using natural micronutrients products that exist also available. And we need to support national governments, particularly in the countries that have no social protection system today. And that is a big issue that we forget when we speak about the financial crisis, economic crisis. The world was able to put together $5 trillion to respond to the financial crisis, but the world was not able to put $30 billion to address the needs of the poor of the poor that are impacted by the crisis. And that is the risk we have with the conference in Copenhagen, is that that part of the equation will not be in agenda.
Thank you very much. And I think the gentleman behind you was
yes.
the next up.
Thank you, Carlo Docente, German Committee for Disaster Reduction. The new role for humanitarian actors is the heading of this session. And I understood now that out of the 5 panelists, 2 addressed the issue of the humanitarian system, donor funding, capacities, instruments using, the other 3 more being on an advocacy role to say, okay, humanitarian actors have to become more engaged in lobbying for climate change adaptation, for environmental issues. However, if the daily life of humanitarian actor, and if we talk about climate change, and if we expect that there's an increase in disasters going to happen, and if we see that already the system we do have in place is overstretched, I would really like to address this issue of quality in what is done in the humanitarian system.